The skies over Earth had been restless for weeks. People looked up at night and saw faint lights that were not stars. They moved in strange patterns, slow and careful, like they were watching. Governments argued in secret meetings. Scientists made guesses, and ordinary people whispered about visitors. Everyone knew something was coming, but nobody knew what it truly was. Captain Daniel Reyes stood on the balcony of the United Nations headquarters in New York. He was not a politician or a scientist. He was a soldier who had served on many missions around the world. He was tall, calm, and carried himself with the steady confidence of someone who had faced danger many times before. Still, when he looked at the strange lights in the sky, he felt a small shiver run down his back. Inside the building, leaders of the world had gathered. The day was historic. Earth had received its first clear message from beyond the stars. It had come through radio waves, broadcasted in a voice that was not human, but still understandable. The message was polite, formal, and simple. To the people of Earth, we are the Galactic Union. We welcome you. Send representatives and you may join us among the stars. The room was filled with tension. Some leaders worried it was a trick. Others saw it as the chance of a lifetime. After long debates, the decision was made. Earth would respond. A small team of humans would be chosen to represent the entire planet. They would travel to the Galactic Union's central station and see what awaited them. Captain Reyes had not expected to be chosen. He was surprised when his name appeared on the list. Alongside him were a scientist named Dr. Amina Patel, a linguist named Professor Luis Ortega, and two young diplomats, Sarah, Blake, and Tomas Jung. Together they would carry the hopes of humanity. When the day of departure arrived, the skies opened with light. A massive ship, shining like silver glass, entered Earth's atmosphere. It moved with silent grace, unaffected by wind or gravity. Crowds gathered in every city, watching as the ship hovered above the United Nations building. From its side, a ramp of light extended. Figures emerged, aliens, tall and slender with skin that shimmered like polished stone. Their movements were smooth, and their large eyes glowed faintly. The leader among them introduced himself as Ambassador Kale of the Talor species. His voice was gentle, but his words carried an undertone that many humans noticed. We welcome you, children of Earth. You are young, fragile, and untested, but the Union has room for all branches of life. Come and we shall see if you have a place among us. Though the words sounded polite, many humans felt the sting of insult. Fragile, untested, weak. Captain Reyes said nothing, but he watched Kale carefully. He had learned long ago that words often revealed less than actions. The journey to the stars was both terrifying and beautiful. The human team was brought aboard the alien ship. Its interior was vast, with walls that shifted color like living stone. Strange plants glowed in corners, and air flowed without fans or vents. The humans felt like guests inside a palace not made for them. Through wide windows, they saw Earth growing smaller behind them. The blue oceans, the white clouds, the green continents, all fading into the darkness of space. Sarah Blake whispered, "We're leaving home." Hours turned into days, though the humans could not tell time in the strange ship. Finally, they arrived at the Union's central station. It was larger than anything they had ever imagined, a ring-shaped world orbiting a distant star. Lights glittered across its surface, brighter than any city on Earth. As they entered, their eyes widened. Species from across the galaxy filled the station. Some floated in bubbles of liquid, others walked on many legs or glided on wings. The humans felt small, outnumbered and outmatched. Ambassador Kale led them into a grand hall where delegates from dozens of species had gathered. Their voices echoed soft and deep, buzzing and clicking. When the humans entered, silence fell for a moment. Then whispers began. They are small. They look fragile. They cannot survive long in the void. Dr. Patel clenched her jaw. Professor Ortega wrote notes quickly, trying to capture every sound. Tomas Jung and Sarah Blake kept polite smiles. though their eyes betrayed unease. Captain Reyes, as always, stood still, his expression unreadable. At the front of the hall, a council of elder species sat on high seats. One of them, a being covered in golden feathers, spoke. "Welcome, humans of Earth. We see that your kind is young. Compared to others, your lives are short. Your bodies are soft. Your technology is simple. Why should the Union accept you?" Though words echoed across the hall. Many aliens nodded, agreeing. To them, humans were nothing remarkable. Before the humans could answer, Ambassador Kale raised a hand. "Perhaps they can prove themselves," he said smoothly. "The Union always test newcomers. A trial of endurance will show us what Earth's children are capable of." The aliens murmured in approval. The humans exchanged nervous glances. Dr. Patel whispered, "A test? What kind of test?" Kyle only smiled, his eyes glinting. "Do not worry. It will be fair." That night, the human team was given quarters within the station. The rooms were comfortable, but the air smelled strange, and the artificial gravity felt lighter than Earth's. Captain Reyes noticed it immediately. He moved with ease, almost too much ease, like his body was built for something heavier. He turned to his team. "Have you noticed the gravity here?" Dr. Patel frowned. "It feels weak, like we're floating just a little." Professor Ortega nodded. "I thought it was my imagination. But you're right. It's not like Earth." Reyes folded his arms. His soldier's mind was already making connections. If this was what aliens called normal, then Earth itself was not ordinary. Humanity had been forged under a force greater than most of the galaxy ever knew. But he kept his thoughts quiet. It was not time to reveal them yet. Instead, he looked out at the alien city beyond their window. Lights danced in the distance. Ships moved like fireflies in the dark. The galaxy was vast, full of power and mystery. And tomorrow, humans would stand before it all in a trial they barely understood. Reyes whispered to himself, "Let them think we're frail. Tomorrow they'll see." The next morning on the station began with the echo of soft chimes. The humans woke slowly, their bodies still adjusting to the strange rhythm of life in space. The air was clean, almost too clean, with a faint metallic taste. The floor beneath, their feet felt light, as though it carried only half their weight. Every step felt easy, too easy, like their legs had been set free from the pull they had always known. Captain Daniel Reyes was the first to rise. As a soldier, he was used to waking before the sun, though here there was no sun, only the glow of distant stars through the wide windows. He stretched his arms and felt how loose his muscles were, how strange it was to stand tall with little effort. For a moment he thought of Earth's heavy pull, of long marches carrying heavy packs across deserts and mountains. Here, all that weight was gone. Dr. Amina Patel, brushing her short black hair, looked unsettled. "This is strange," she muttered. "I feel like I could run for hours without getting tired." "Don't trust it," Reyes replied calmly. "Our bodies are used to more. If we get too comfortable here, we'll forget what we're built for." Sarah Blake, the young diplomat, laughed nervously. "Built for what? Compared to these aliens, we look weak. They don't even hide it. Everyone stared at us like children yesterday." Professor Ortega adjusted his glasses and smiled gently. "Appearances can deceive, Sarah. Words even more so. They see us as fragile because they judge by their own standards. But they have not walked where we have walked." Thomas Zhang, the second diplomat, sat quietly in the corner, his face thoughtful. He finally said, "Maybe this trial they keep speaking of will be our chance. We can show them who we are." A few hours later, the humans were escorted by alien guards to the main hall of the station. The corridor walls shimmered with shifting light, as if alive. They passed strange beings, some with wings, some with scales, some floating in clear spheres of liquid. Each alien they passed turned their heads to look, whispering in their own languages. "They're so small. They look soft. Are they really a species from a full world?" The whispers carried a mixture of curiosity and doubt. "Captain," Reyes kept his face calm, his soldier's training hiding his thoughts. but inside he felt the burn of every whispered insult. He knew his team felt it too. Still, he reminded himself that anger would serve no purpose now. The grand hall was filled again, this time with even more spectators. Dozens of alien species had gathered to watch Earth's representatives. Some hovered in high seats, their bodies glowing like crystals. Others crouched low, eyes gleaming like predators. The humans felt the weight of those gazes, though the gravity of the station remained faint. At the center stood Ambassador Kyle, tall and slender, his skin glimmering with silver light. He raised his long arms and addressed the assembly. "Children of the Union," he began in a clear voice. "We welcome the species of Earth. You see them before you, short-lived, delicate, and untested. Yet they seek a place among us. Let them prove themselves in the trial of endurance, as all new members must." A ripple of agreement passed through the hall. The humans stood silently as Kale turned toward them. "Do you understand?" he asked. "Sarah." Blake took a step forward, her voice steady though her hands trembled slightly. "We understand. We came here to represent humanity. Whatever the trial is, we will face it." Kale gave a slow smile, though his large eyes carried amusement. "Very well. The trial begins tomorrow." After the meeting, the humans were led through the city of the station. It was vast and filled with wonders. Towers of glass and metal rose high, connected by bridges that shimmered with energy. Ships floated between them like birds gliding across the sky. Markets bustled with alien life, creatures trading goods that glowed, pulsed, or sang. Dr. Patel was amazed. "This is beyond anything we dreamed. They've built a city in space." "Yes," Reyes agreed, "but don't let the beauty fool you. They didn't build this by being kind alone. Power runs under everything here." As they walked, aliens continued to study them. Some laughed softly, others ignored them completely. A group of tall beings with bronze skin stopped in front of them. One of them leaned close to Reyes, its voice deep and smooth. "You will fail the trial. Your bones will break. Your hearts will stop. Fragile creatures do not belong among the stars." Reyes did not flinch. He looked the alien straight in the eye. "We'll see." The alien hissed softly, a sound like amusement, before turning away. Sarah whispered, "Do you always talk like that?" Reyes shrugged. "When someone doubts you, don't give them the satisfaction of seeing fear." That evening, the human team gathered in their quarters again. The city lights glowed outside their window, reflecting on the metal walls. Everyone was quiet at first, thinking about the trial. Professor Ortega finally spoke. "We should prepare, though we don't know the rules." Dr. Patel shook her head. "How can we prepare for something we don't understand? Their trials could be anything. Breathing poisonous air, resisting strange radiation, surviving without food for weeks. We don't know what they want from us." Reyes leaned back, his eyes sharp. "We prepare by remembering who we are. They think we're frail, but they've never lived on Earth. They've never felt its gravity pulling on them every second of their lives. They've never climbed our mountains, swum in our oceans, or survived our storms. Whatever they throw at us, remember, we've already been tested every day on our planet." The room went silent. His words carried weight, heavier than the gravity that no longer pressed on them. Sarah finally smiled faintly. "Maybe you're right. Maybe Earth has already given us what we need." The next day, the trial was announced. Crowds of aliens filled an enormous arena, its walls stretching high into the sky of the station. The humans were led to the center, where the ground shifted and shimmered, forming platforms and obstacles. Ambassador Kale raised his voice for all to hear. "The trial of endurance will begin. Each species must face conditions designed to test strength, balance, and spirit. The humans will begin at level 1. The humans stood together, looking around at the vast arena. Alien champions from other species watched from the sidelines, tall and proud, ready to compare their own strength to these newcomers. The floor beneath the humans trembled. Gravity began to shift. first lighter, then heavier, then twisting side to side as though the ground itself wanted to throw them off. The aliens in the crowd laughed. For them, even a small change in gravity was a struggle. They expected humans to fall immediately. But the humans did not fall. Reyes planted his feet firmly, moving with practiced balance. Dr. Patel bent her knees and adjusted, steadying herself quickly. Sarah and Tomas stumbled for a moment but corrected their steps. Professor Ortega held his arms out, awkward but still standing. The crowd grew quiet. Kyle narrowed his eyes. Interesting. The trial had only begun, yet already the aliens were surprised. As the shifting continued, Reyes felt the familiar pull of gravity, stronger now, pressing on his body. It reminded him of home, of training with heavy packs and armor, of running long distances under the sun. He glanced at his team and spoke calmly. "Stay steady. This is nothing compared to Earth." His voice carried confidence. His team drew strength from it. For the first time since they had left their planet, the humans no longer felt like strangers in a foreign world. They felt like what they truly were, children of a heavy world, shaped by its pull, prepared for trials the galaxy could not imagine. And as the crowd of aliens leaned forward, whispers filling the air, a new thought began to spread among them. Perhaps humans were not as fragile as they seemed. The arena roared with strange sounds as the trial of endurance entered its first phase. Thousands of alien voices echoed in the vast chamber. Some clicked like insects, others hummed like music, and many laughed in disbelief. The humans had not fallen, even as the ground shifted and gravity twisted. Captain Daniel Reyes stood tall in the center of the platform. His boots pressed firmly against the floor, and he breathed in slow, steady rhythm. Around him, Sarah Blake, Tomas Jang, Dr. Patel, and Professor Ortega struggled but stayed upright. Their bodies swayed like trees in the wind, yet they did not break. Ambassador Kale, watching from a high balcony, narrowed his glowing eyes. "Stronger than expected," he murmured to another alien beside him. The alien replied with doubt. "It is only the beginning. They will fail when the true weight comes." Suddenly, the floor beneath the humans split apart. The platform stretched into 5 narrow bridges leading to different towers across the arena. Each bridge tilted up and down, shaking as if alive. Beneath them was nothing but open air, the drop stretching endlessly to a dark abyss. A deep voice rang out across the arena. "Step forward, cross the bridges, reach the towers." The humans exchanged quick glances. Sarah's face turned pale. "They want us to walk across that?" "Not want," Reyes said calmly. "They expect it." Dr. Patel's hands trembled, but she steadied herself. "If we hesitate, they'll call us weak. We can't stop now." Reyes nodded. "Stay focused, one step at a time. Don't look down." They began their walk. Sarah went first, her shoes slipping slightly on the smooth surface. The bridge swayed, making her arms flail, but she took a deep breath and kept moving. Behind her, Tomas moved more carefully, his eyes fixed forward. "Doctor," Patel whispered to herself with every step. 1, 2, steady, steady. Her scientific mind had always trusted numbers, and now she counted as though numbers could keep her safe. Professor Ortega wobbled badly, his balance poor, but Reyes stayed close behind him. "Keep moving, Professor. Short steps. Don't rush." The crowd of aliens laughed. To them, the humans looked clumsy. They expected screams, slips, and failure. But to their surprise, no one fell. Slowly but surely, the humans crossed their bridges and reached the towers. The laughter quieted. The next phase began. The towers rumbled, and walls rose high around the humans. The air grew thick, pressing down with heavy force. The announcer's voice echoed again. "Endure the weight." Gravity increased. It pressed on their shoulders, their chests, their legs. For the aliens in the stands, even watching this made them uncomfortable. Many of them lived their entire lives under gravity, so light that lifting a stone was effort. Now they stared as the humans bent their knees and gritted their teeth, holding firm. Sarah gasped. "It's heavy." Dr. Patel nodded, her face red from the pressure. Yes, but it feels familiar. Reyes kept his stance, his breath steady. This is Earth. This is what we live with every day. Push through it. One by one, the humans adapted. Their muscles ached, sweat beaded on their foreheads, but they stood strong. What was crushing for others was home for them. The aliens in the audience whispered in shock. Impossible. No species that small should endure this. Are they truly from such a world? Ambassador Kale leaned forward, interest flashing in his eyes. Perhaps they are not so fragile after all. The weight grew heavier. Some aliens in the crowd shifted uncomfortably, feeling sympathy pains through their strange senses. A few even left, unable to watch. But the humans endured. Professor Ortega, shaking badly, fell to one knee. Reyes knelt beside him instantly. Don't give up, Professor. Use your arms. Push yourself up. You can do it. Ortega gritted his teeth. His arms trembled, his face twisted with effort, but slowly, painfully, he rose again. The crowd gasped. Even in weakness, humans refused to stop. Sarah shouted over the roar of the arena, her voice breaking but determined. We don't give up. That's who we are. Finally, the pressure lifted. The humans stumbled, breathing hard, but they were still standing. The crowd fell into stunned silence. But the trial was not finished. The towers opened, revealing paths that led into dark tunnels. The announcer's voice rang again. Now survive the maze. Reyes looked at his team. They were exhausted, yet he saw the fire in their eyes. Stay close. Don't separate. Whatever's inside, we face it together. They entered the maze. Inside, the tunnels twisted in endless patterns. The walls glowed faintly, just enough to see the path. Strange sounds echoed around them, growls, hisses, whispers in languages they did not know. Dr. Patel's heart pounded. This feels like a trap. Reyes nodded. It is. They want to see if we break under fear. As they moved, the floor tilted suddenly. Gravity pulled them sideways, slamming them into the wall. Sarah cried out, but Reyes pulled her up quickly. On your feet. The maze is trying to break us, they pressed on. The path grew steeper, the pull of gravity twisting in strange directions. Sometimes it felt like climbing a wall, other times like walking upside down. The humans' bodies, trained by Earth's constant heaviness, adapted faster than expected. They moved carefully, helping each other when one slipped. In one chamber, a sudden blast of wind struck them, pushing them back. Tomas nearly fell into a pit, but Ortega grabbed his arm, refusing to let go. Not today, the old professor shouted. The team pulled together step by step, refusing to be separated. At last, they reached the heart of the maze. A final chamber, opened, filled with a blinding light. In the center was a tall pillar glowing with energy. The voice of the announcer returned. Touch the pillar. Only then will the trial end. The humans staggered forward, their clothes damp with sweat, their muscles aching. Reyes placed his hand on the pillar first, followed by Sarah, Tomas, Patel, and Ortega. The light flared and the entire arena shook. When the humans opened their eyes again, they stood once more in the center of the arena. The maze was gone. The towers gone, the strange forces lifted. Only silence remained. Then slowly the silence broke. Not with laughter, but with applause. Alien hands clapped, claws tapped, wings beat the air. The sound grew louder, echoing through the arena. The humans stood together, tired but proud. They had endured. Ambassador Kale rose from his seat, his silver skin shimmering. He looked down at the humans with a new expression. Not mockery, not pity, but respect mixed with curiosity. He spoke loudly so all could hear. The children of Earth have endured the trial. They did not fall. They did not surrender. Perhaps they are not so frail as we believed. The crowd cheered louder, though some aliens still whispered doubt. Reyes met Kale's gaze. He said nothing, but his steady eyes held a silent message. You have not seen all of what we are yet. That night, in their quarters, the humans sat together, still catching their breath. Tomas finally laughed weakly. We survived. I thought I was going to break in that maze. Sarah smiled. We didn't. That's what matters. Dr. Patel leaned back against the wall. They've seen a glimpse of what humanity is. Not weakness, endurance. Professor Ortega chuckled softly. And to think, they expected us to fail on the first step. Reyes stood by the window staring at the stars. His voice was calm but strong. This was only the beginning. Now they know we can endure. Next, they'll see what we can do when we fight to protect others. His words hung in the air, heavy, with promise. Outside, the great station glittered against the dark void, and whispers of humanity's strength spread from one species to another. The galaxy was beginning to learn. Earth's children were not fragile. They were forged by gravity itself. The arena had fallen silent after the trial, but whispers spread through the Galactic Union station like fire. For the first time, species that had lived for centuries dismissed their pride and turned their attention to Earth. The humans had not simply passed the test, they had endured it in ways that defied expectation. Captain Daniel Reyes felt the change immediately. When he and his team walked through the station's wide corridors the next day, aliens no longer laughed openly. Some still looked down at them, but others now stepped aside with quiet respect. Sarah Blake whispered, "They're staring again, but it's different now." Dr. Patel nodded. "It's curiosity, maybe even fear." Professor Ortega adjusted his glasses. "Fear is respect in disguise. They're beginning to realize we are not what they thought." Reyes remained silent, but inside he knew this was only the first step. The Galactic Union called for a gathering in the Hall of Voices, a vast chamber where every species could speak. Floating platforms carried representatives above a deep central pit, and beams of light marked each speaker. Ambassador Kale stood at the center. His silver skin shimmered and his voice rang clear. Yesterday, Earth's children completed the trial of endurance. Where others fell, they stood. Where others broke, they endured. "This is unexpected," aliens murmured across the chamber. Some agreed, others scoffed. A massive creature with 6 arms slammed the floor with one limb. "Tricks," it growled. "Perhaps the trial was weakened for them," another species hissed. "They are too small, too soft, this cannot be true." Kyle raised a hand, silencing them. He turned toward the humans standing on their platform. "Let them speak for themselves." Captain Reyes stepped forward. Reyes walked into the light. The eyes of hundreds of species bore down on him, but his voice remained calm. "You see us as weak," he said. "You look at our skin, our size, our short lives, and think we are fragile. But you forget one thing. We are children of Earth, a world of storms, oceans, mountains, deserts, ice, and fire. Every day our planet tests us. Every breath we take is under a weight you cannot imagine." The chamber grew quiet. Reyes continued, his voice steady. "On your worlds, gravity is light. You float. On ours, gravity pulls hard. It shapes our bones, our muscles, our hearts. It crushes us if we falter, but it also makes us strong. That is why we endured your trial. Not because it was easy, but because we live it every day." A long silence followed. Then slowly a ripple of sound spread. Whispers, clicks, hums. Aliens turned to each other with wide eyes. They had never considered that Earth itself was a forge, its invisible weight crafting resilience into every human body. Professor Ortega leaned close to Sarah, whispering, "This is the revelation. They are beginning to understand." After the gathering, word of humanity spread faster than light. In markets, alien merchants whispered tales of the gravity forged. In corridors, guards spoke with awe about the species that stood unbroken. Some began to look at humans not as frail children, but as survivors of a harsh and powerful world. Yet not all welcomed this change. In the council chambers, powerful species whispered among themselves. If they are forged by such a world, what else might they endure? They could become dangerous. Perhaps they should never be allowed to grow too strong. Ambassador Kale listened but said nothing. Outwardly, he showed only calm interest. Inwardly, his thoughts were shifting. He had been the first to call humans fragile, but now he wondered if he had underestimated them. That evening, the humans returned to their quarters. The station lights outside their window shone like stars, but their room felt heavy with silence. Tomas Jung finally spoke. "Do you think they respect us now?" Dr. Patel sighed. "Some do, but others see us as a threat." Sarah frowned. "Is that bad?" Reyes answered quietly. "It means they're taking us seriously, that's good, but it also means they'll test us again." Professor Ortega rubbed his temples. "And tests in this galaxy are never simple." They were right. 2 days later, alarms echoed across the station. Red lights flashed through every corridor. An urgent message reached every ear. A Union vessel has fallen into the gravity well of a dying star. Rescue teams cannot survive the pull. All lives aboard are at risk. Panic spread. The ship was full of delegates from important species, and losing them would be a disaster. In the council hall, leaders shouted over one another, "We cannot approach, the gravity is too strong. Our ships will be torn apart. Even our strongest cannot endure." Then a quiet voice spoke. It was Sarah Blake. She and the human team had arrived just as the chaos began. She stepped forward and said firmly, "We can." The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to her. Kale narrowed his gaze. "Explain yourself." Reyes stepped beside Sarah. His voice carried the calm of certainty. "You said it yourself, your species cannot endure heavy gravity. Ours can. This is our chance to prove it. Send us. We'll bring them back." The council erupted in disbelief. "Impossible. You will be crushed. They will die." But amid the storm of protest, some voices began to agree. Perhaps they are the only ones who can. Let the gravity-forged prove themselves again. Ambassador Kale raised his hand. The chamber fell quiet. He studied Reyes for a long moment, then spoke. "Very well. Humans, the task is yours. Save the delegates if you truly believe you can." The humans prepared quickly. They were given a small shuttle, one barely strong enough to survive the edge of the dying star's pull. Alien engineers whispered doubts as they worked, but Reyes ignored them. Inside the shuttle, Sarah's hands shook as she checked her harness. "This is madness," she whispered. Dr. Patel touched her arm gently. "Maybe. But if we succeed, the whole galaxy will see the truth of who we are." Professor Ortega smiled faintly, his old eyes shining with courage. "Sometimes history is written not by the strongest, but by those who refuse to step back." Reyes settled into the pilot's seat, his voice calm and steady. "Hold tight. Earth carried us this far. It will carry us again." The shuttle launched, diving into the dark void where the dying star pulled like a monster. Its light burned red, flaring with violent storms. The trapped Union ship twisted against the pull, its hull groaning as if it were alive. Inside, the human team felt the weight pressing on them. Gravity grew heavier with every second. Their bodies ached, their lungs strained, but they did not break. Reyes gritted his teeth, forcing the shuttle forward. "This is nothing. Think of Earth. Think of every mountain, every ocean. We are stronger than this." One by one, his team echoed his words, their voices shaking but firm. "Stronger than this." The shuttle pressed on, closer to the trapped vessel. Back on the station, the council watched in silence. Aliens who had laughed at humans before now stared in awe. The fragile species from Earth was diving where none of them dared to go. Ambassador Kale whispered to himself, "They walk where others cannot." And in that moment, the truth of humanity's strength began to settle deep into the galaxy's heart. The shuttle rattled as it pushed deeper toward the dying star. Its fiery light filled every corner of space, red and furious, while waves of gravity pulled with merciless strength. The humans felt the weight pressing on them like an invisible mountain. Sarah Blake clutched her seat straps, her breath coming in short gasps. "How much more can this ship take?" Dr. Patel's voice shook but remained steady. Not long, but our bodies are holding better than the machines. That says something. Professor Ortega, though pale, managed a weak laugh. If we survive, perhaps we should remind the galaxy that human flesh sometimes outlasts alien steel. Captain Reyes kept his eyes fixed forward, hands gripping the controls. His arms trembled under the force, but his voice was calm. Hold on. We're almost there. The Union vessel spun helplessly ahead, caught like a leaf in a storm. Its hull glowed from the star's heat, and its engines had failed completely. Inside, hundreds of alien delegates cried out for help, their voices a mix of fear and despair. Reyes pushed the shuttle closer. Sarah, Tomas, prepare the docking clamps. Patel, Ortega, get ready to stabilize the systems once we connect. The team moved, every motion slowed by the crushing pull of gravity. Sweat rolled down their faces, but their determination burned stronger than fear. The shuttle slammed against the Union ship with a heavy jolt. Metal screeched, but the clamps held. A faint cheer rose inside the alien vessel, though it was drowned quickly by groans of the failing hull. Reyes forced open the airlock. The gravity inside the larger ship was even worse, pulling down like the weight of oceans. Alien crew members lay sprawled across the floor, unable to move. Their limbs trembled, their voices weak. One alien, a crystalline being, lifted its head, with great effort. We cannot stand. Reyes knelt, his body straining but still under control. We'll get you out. Sarah's eyes widened. Daniel, they can't even walk. Reyes nodded. Then we carry them. One by one, the humans lifted the aliens. Sarah and Tomas dragged two smaller beings across the corridor, each step heavy as stone. Dr. Patel supported another, her muscles shaking but refusing to quit. Ortega, though older, leaned on sheer willpower, pulling one alien at a time. Reyes moved like a machine of endurance. He lifted a large delegate over his shoulders, his legs trembling but never failing. Come on, he grunted, his voice harsh, but steady. We don't stop now. The aliens watched in disbelief. Where their own bodies collapsed, the humans pushed forward. Where the star's pull pinned them down, the humans kept moving. For every alien they saved, whispers of awe spread. How? Are they still standing? They are impossible. They are forged by gravity. The rescue stretched on, minute after painful minute. The shuttle filled with alien survivors, each one gasping in relief as the humans carried them aboard. At last, the Union ship was empty. Its hull cracked loudly, warning that it would soon collapse into the stars. Pull. Reyes staggered back into the shuttle, sweat soaking his uniform, his arms trembling from the weight he had carried. He slammed the airlock shut. Everyone's out. Go! The shuttle engines roared, pushing against the dying star's pull. The humans felt the crushing force drag at them, threatening to tear the ship apart. Alarm screamed, lights flickered, and metal groaned. Reyes gritted his teeth, every muscle in his body straining as if his will alone kept the ship moving. Come on, hold together. With a final burst, the shuttle broke free, soaring back into safer space. The view of the raging star shrank behind them. Cheers erupted, not only from the rescued aliens inside the shuttle, but across the Galactic Union station, where millions had watched the rescue live. Humanity had done the impossible. When the shuttle docked, the humans stepped out last, supporting each other with tired smiles. Their bodies were aching, their lungs burning, but they were alive. The aliens they had saved were carried away gently by their own kind, their eyes wide with respect and gratitude. The great hall of the station filled again. This time there was no laughter, no mockery. Every seat was taken, every gaze fixed on the humans. Ambassador Kale rose from his place. For the first time since meeting them, his tone carried no trace of amusement. Children of Earth? He said loudly, his silver form gleaming in the light. You have done what none of us could. You have walked into the pull of a dying star and returned, carrying not only yourselves but many others. You have shown courage. You have shown endurance. You have shown humanity. The hall erupted with sound. Cheers, claps, even strange alien gestures of respect. Species that had mocked now bowed their heads. Even those who feared humanity could not deny what they had seen. Kyle raised his arms, silencing the crowd. He turned to the humans. Perhaps it is not we who are strong, but you who are forged in the heaviest fire. Earth has given you a gift no other world has. And now, the Union must accept you, not as frail children, but as equals among the stars. Tears filled Sarah's eyes. Tomas smiled proudly, his usual quietness replaced with a look of triumph. Dr. Patel covered her mouth, overwhelmed by emotion. Ortega stood tall, his old frame shaking but his eyes bright. Reyes simply nodded, his voice low but steady. We didn't come here to be praised. We came to stand beside you, to share what humanity is. We're not the strongest or the fastest or the oldest, but we endure. And when others fall, we carry them. The hall fell silent again, but this time it was not doubt. It was respect. In the days that followed, everything changed. The humans were given a permanent seat in the Union Council. Delegates from across the galaxy came to learn about Earth, asking questions about its oceans, mountains, and storms. Some even requested to visit, to see the world that had forged such resilience. Alien engineers studied human biology, astonished at how their bones and muscles thrived under constant pressure. Traders offered partnerships, seeing value in working with a species that refused to quit. Soldiers from other species saluted Reyes and his team, acknowledging them as equals, and whispers spread beyond the station, carried to the farthest corners of the galaxy. Humanity has come. They are gravity-forged. They will not break. One evening, the human team gathered once more at the window of their quarters. The stars stretched endlessly before them, glowing like candles in the dark. Sarah leaned against the glass. Do you think Earth is ready for this? For all of this? Dr. Patel smiled softly. Earth has always been ready. We just didn't know it until now. Tomas added, We'll stumble, we'll make mistakes, but we'll endure, just like we always do. Professor Ortega chuckled. If the galaxy thinks humans are stubborn now, wait until they meet the rest of our species. Reyes stood silently for a moment, his hands clasped behind his back. Then he spoke, his voice steady, carrying the weight of truth. Humanity has a place among the stars. Not because we are the strongest, not because we are the cleverest, but because we endure what others cannot. That is our gift. That is who we are. The others nodded, their eyes shining with quiet pride. Outside, the Galactic Union Station glittered like a crown in the dark. And beyond it, the stars waited. Thousands of worlds, thousands of trials, thousands of chances for humanity to prove itself again and again. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way. The frail ones had become the unbreakable. The children of gravity had claimed their place among the stars.